I'll go to item number 7, resolution 2012-07 recording policy. Who would like to present this item? This was tabled at our last commission meeting, and it's back on today, so we will begin with discussion on this item. Is there any discussion at the table? Okay, I will call then for public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this matter?
Madam Commissioner, are we still on 2 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I guess I would like to start, my name is Jed McQuaid. I guess I'd like to start by restating the obvious, and that is that this room belongs to the people. And it's the responsibility and the prerogative of the people to set the rules for how public servants behave in here and how the people behave in here. And the people have, through their legislature, set the rules. And they've given you the power and authority to enforce those rules. You have the law right here in the room. If I disrupt this meeting, you can have me arrested. And that system is legitimized by the fact that the law and I will show up before a judge, and we both have due process. When you start inventing rules of decorum, you've moved beyond the law, and you've moved beyond a place where enforcement has due process anymore. If I break a rule of decorum, there's nowhere I can have my due process back. I would urge you not to table this again. I would urge you to bring it up, and I would urge you to vote down any restrictions beyond the law. Do everything you can to provide a good quality video record for your citizens, and don't put any limitations. I mean, I watched professional news people in here today moving to different places in this room to get the picture that they wanted. And to put them in a pen in the back of the room, or to put citizens in a pen in the back of the room, is not an acceptable use of your power. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Who would like to do it?
My name is Mark Rowley, and as you might notice, I'm a photographer. I've been doing this for more than 45 years. I go back to presidential coverage for Lyndon Johnson. I've worked at the United Nations and all levels of government down from there. And I can tell you that reasonable rules are acceptable. But the actual use of the word reasonable comes out of the Open Meetings Act, which says, reasonable efforts shall be made to accommodate the use of audio and video recording devices. And your draft that has been put out has 8 standards. Most of them have been lifted from the Supreme Court rules on conduct in courtrooms where there are trials. And trials differ from what's happening in this room right now, in the fact that juries are impaneled, they're not public people, they're forced by law to come to serve. You have witnesses who may not want to be there but are forced to come by subpoena. And they're very highly emotional events a lot of times. So they have reasonable rules. 5 of the 8 items on here I find to have constitutional problems. When we start and look at the original draft of this resolution, it would have closed the room. The draft that now exists designating an area and limiting the ability to take photographs in this room to simply the dais is unconstitutional in many ways, because you're dictating to the people how they go about doing their work. And it doesn't work that way.
Time.
Thank you, sir.
2 other things, real quick. Yesterday, Supreme Court, 4 Nikon cameras, same thing I used. City of Albuquerque, 2 weeks ago, Nikon cameras, same thing I used. Other places are very accepting of the news media. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to be next? Anyone else? Okay. We're now back at the table for action.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, I know a lot of the columns and stuff have been edited myself, simply because of the request to try to accommodate everybody in this room, not just the photographers, not just the media, but everybody in this room, which I think has the equal right. When we have a photographer that has a camera that is making noise, when we're looking back at the audience, and we can see that person look to the camera and not to what's going on, then that tells me that it disturbs everybody, or it disturbs some people. So I think when you come up here and you talk about having the equal right, I think you should also look and say that everybody in this audience has the same right as you do. When we're talking about putting somebody in a designated area to where those people have the right, it's kind of like saying I've not seen one photographer yet run on a football field when a play is going on to try to take pictures because they have the right to be there. I've seen them in designated areas. So when we're trying to put people into a designated area, or we're trying to put the media into an area, it's not to limit the media, but it's to give everybody the same right to hear everything that we are doing in this room. And that is where it began, not to try to stop the media, but to try to give everybody the same right to hear.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Tapia, do you have a comment?
I do have a comment. The New Mexico Foundation for Open Government, you stated number 3, A is the reasonable efforts may be made to accommodate the use of audio and video recording devices. B also states the Opens Meetings Act does not guarantee citizens the right to speak at public meetings. And I think this is where we've crossed the line. We all have our rights, but let's talk about respect for our friends and neighbors when we come to these meetings. We had Michelle who stood up at the last meeting and said it's very distracting to have people walking around with cameras. Where's respect for one another? You have your rights, I have my rights, but where's the respect for our neighbors and the people that are sitting next to us? And that's what we need to remember. If we get into the I and my right and what I want, then we lose the love for our neighbors and the love for one another, and then we don't have peace within our buildings.
Okay, thank you. I will make a comment on, not really on the resolution itself, but on how all of this came about and how now we have the clerk's office with the recording devices available to do video and audio recordings, and I think that was a great thing, and I appreciate how that came about, and so I'm glad that we now will have that on our website so that people who aren't able to come to our meetings can still see the video online, and so I think it opens up accessibility to everyone in our county. As far as the resolution, I think as time has progressed, it has certainly become more restrictive. Especially letter A on the second page of the resolution. The person intending to record the meetings must provide 24 hours advance written notice to the county manager's office of the intent to record the meeting. I thought that was, I don't really agree with that. So I think at this time, this has been before us several times. I think what we need to do now is to take action and to move forward. So at this time, I will call for a motion to either approve or deny the resolution as it is in front of us. Is there a motion?
I will make the motion that we deny what is in front of us, but that we also continue to work on providing one that is acceptable to all of the commissioners.
Okay,
I
thank you.
second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have a motion and a second to deny the resolution as it is submitted. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. This is a very important matter, so I would like a roll call vote. District 1,
Yes.
District 2,
Yes.
District 3, yes. Let the record reflect that all 3 commissioners voted to deny this resolution as it is submitted.